Oh my God.
Okay. All right, let's get this over with and finish our part 2.
Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like.
Welcome to Drunk Bitches Be Like. I'm Brandi.
I'm Mindy.
And this is all about 2 women, a few beers, some tipsy stories, and some drunk ideas.
Welcome.
All right, so I think we're good, and hopefully we're better, and I'll try and keep an eye on the timeline so that if it goes flatline, so that we cut out. But I switched you to the third instead of the second input, so I think maybe the second input wasn't good.
Okay.
So I think we should be okay.
We sounded like we were in like a what.
I know, it was bad.
What.
Which that has a little bit of a, but I don't think it's too terrible.
It sounded like we were censoring ourselves heavily.
Oh, yeah. It was like all of a sudden it would just like drop and I was like, oh, shit. You can't hear the rest of that sentence and that doesn't make sense. And I was trying to like make it so it made sense, but it didn't still sometimes.
So we appreciate everybody's patience with the double upload.
Yeah.
It's just once we were listening to it, we were like, we need to take this down and put it back up again.
Yeah, we had some shit happening.
Yeah. Also, when you get really drunk, you're not really careful about what you say, about who you say it about. Sometimes
that is accurate.
you need to protect the family unit.
And that's my bad too, because I should know that as a producer. I'm saying that in quotes.
You don't know the relationship I have with that person, so I wouldn't expect you to know that. But I listened to it and I was like,
oh, shit, stop. No.
I don't have that kind of relationship with them.
You know what the funny part is? That whole text message conversation that you sent me, I don't remember it at all. I was so wasted that night. I clearly stopped it and like did the things I needed to do. Don't remember the conversation at all. So when you texted me later on the next day, I was like, what? And I went back and I read and I was like, oh shit. All right. I did things last night.
Yeah,
Cool.
you were like, I took it down. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
care when you put it back up, but can you just take that whole section out?
Did not know that I did that.
So for the other 3 people who downloaded it, because I was one of them.
Well, I was probably one too. So
Okay,
two
so
people.
for the 2 other people who downloaded it, I don't even know if you got to listen to it, but
Just disregard things.
yeah, never mind. I was just looking to make sure it wasn't downloaded in a specific state. And I was like, we're going to take it down. Fuck.
Apparently I can do that stuff when I'm drunk, even if I don't remember it.
Job. I'm like all up in the Spreaker, like
When I have a phone, I can do that. Right now, I don't have a phone.
Yeah. So before we get into Brandi's vacation part 2,
Right,
My
yes.
question to Brandi today was, what the fuck do you do to phones?
I
Because this
don't-
is the 3rd one
Oh my
in
God.
6 months.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Okay. So quick review. Like a little more than 6 months ago, I was going to get another phone because my phone was, after you have a phone for 2 years, the battery starts going, everything else. And it's like, it still works, but like it doesn't work as well as you would like it to work for the current day and age.
Right.
Because I feel like that's how they design them with the software and everything else. Like the battery starts draining quicker and everything else. So I bought a phone on a website based on some recommendations from some people. And I got a phone that I wanted for a couple $100 cheaper than it would have been if I'd have just bought it straight out. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then I got it and it was supposed to be unlocked, whatever. And it would not connect to my my carrier, I think is what you call it.
Yeah.
So I went back and forth with him on this thing, this website, this third-party website that was like, oh, it won't connect. And he was like, no, it should connect. And I was like, it doesn't connect, so you need to give me a refund and I'll send you the phone back. And he was like, no, I'm not giving you a refund. Like, it should connect. And I was like, well, it doesn't. And so, like, there were other people involved. It was like a full month-long thing. And eventually I was like, fuck it. And I went into Best Buy. And Best Buy to me right now is the best friend that I've ever had. I love Best Buy.
I appreciate that.
I went into them and I was like, here's what has happened. I need a phone that works. Clearly this one does not. I can't get it to connect. And they couldn't figure out why it couldn't connect. And they got me another phone that was a better phone. And then they were like, but you can take this phone if you want because they're running a special right now and you can trade it in for $200 more than you bought it on this other website. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do that. So I was like, okay, well, it doesn't matter that I can't connect it to my website. So I like ditched all of the like things on the other website and was like, you know what? fuck it, I'll take the phone. I will retract all of my negotiations and whatever the fuck that, and I will take it for myself because I can trade it in. And then, of course, my boyfriend needed a new phone too. And so then it actually worked on his network because it was the same network that this other kid had, whatever. So we traded phones and he got a new phone, which worked out well for him. And I took my old phone and traded in, which I still got a very decent deal on my trade-in.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I still get like $400 on a trade-in phone that I was already trying to trade in, whatever.
Right.
So I traded in. I got this badass phone that had a great camera, and I do a lot of production work kind of stuff. So I got this camera that had this phone. It was a Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. So anybody who knows that, it has a badass camera on it. It's fantastic. I will say over the past 6 months having it, there has been some issues with like the swipe functions and whatever else, but the camera is fantastic and I loved it. So it's been great.
Yeah, the camera is pretty badass. I've taken some pictures and I'm like, you can see like the hairs on a bee's ass.
You can. It's fantastic. I love it. And it's got this director mode where you can take front-facing camera while you're taking the back-facing camera, and you can switch between 3 different modes of zoom. So you can actually direct and switch between camera modes, and it's just delightful.
Nice.
So, so I really loved it. And so that whole thing got situated. But then about 2 days ago, I had my phone sitting on my lap because I always have it in my hand, right?
Right.
And my purse sometimes gets a little full.
Uh-huh.
Especially because I've had a sinus infection and whatever. So it's got lots of Kleenex and whatever else in there. And I couldn't fit the phone in there. So I had the phone sitting on my lap. And I have this very poofy... Mindy's having allergic reactions to my story. I have this very poofy... I call it my sleeping bag coat.
It looks like a sleeping bag.
Yeah, I referenced it on the last show.
If you like go to Land's End and look at the coat that goes to your fucking ankles.
Oh, yeah, it goes all the way down. It's fabulous. I love it. But I had
like the Michelin Man, the skinny version.
I had it sitting on my lap in the car, but as a female, you have other shit that you have to grab when you get out of the car. So when I parked my car and I had to parallel park it on a street, I bent over to get like my purse and other shit and like grabbed that stuff, and I got out of the car. And you have to when you're parallel parking on a busy street, you have to like squish your ass out of the car, out of the door, and then you close the door real quick because you want to like be as flat against the car as you can, right? Well, as I was doing that, I forgot that the phone was in my lap, and it fell from my lap to the ground. Did not register that whatsoever. So I go into the place I'm going into, whatever, and do my thing, and then I left. And then later on, I was sitting there with a friend, and I'm like looking around. I went and searched the car, searched my purse. She's like, "You really want to go find your phone?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "All right, let's go retrace your steps." I was like, "All right, let's go backwards." So we left the one place and we went to the last place I was at. And as I was pulling into the parking spot, all of a sudden the car started ringing. Because I had texted my significant other and been like, I lost my phone. I can't find it. I might have left it on top of the car when I left the house. I don't know. And he asked me like, which, what's the path you took to get to where you're at? So he had walked.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart. He had walked the entire path that I had driven to see if it like fell off the top of my car somewhere, because my coat was in the car. So when I got in the car, I was like, there's a chance I left it on top of the car while I pulled the coat out and put the coat on.
Right.
And then just took off and forgot the thing was on top of the car, because who hasn't done that with coffee before?
Right.
Well, I did it with a phone, I thought. I didn't, but that's what I thought. So he had walked all the way downtown, and I literally pulled into a parking spot at the exact same time that he had walked around the corner downtown, and my car started ringing, and I was like, oh my God, my phone is within range. It's here. And I got out of the car and I see my boyfriend walking around the corner, like all hooded up and everything, because it's fucking cold outside. It's like 30 degrees.
Right.
Like he's all hooded up and everything else, and like in his like, stuff to walk downtown. And I look behind me and my phone is laying on the ground.
Nice.
In the parking spot behind me where I had parked earlier. Clearly damaged. So I don't know if I ran over it or if somebody else ran over it, but it had clearly been run over. So I'm like, all right, so it's still on, and the Bluetooth is still connected to my car. So like I can make phone calls as long as I'm in my car, but otherwise I cannot use this phone. But it was so sweet that he came all the way down, and like he every half a block he'd call the phone to see if he could hear it anywhere. And so he walked the whole way down.
My husband would never, because he's like, your phone is on silent, bitch. You think I'm really going to find it?
So yeah, it was super sweet, but we found my phone. It had been run over. So I will never not buy a phone from Best Buy.
There you go.
Because I went back into Best Buy and I was like, hey, it's run over. I can't see the screen. I was like, I know when I bought the phone here, I got some kind of plan with the Geek Squad. I don't know what it is, but can you look it up and whatever else? And they were like, all right, you have a $199 deductible thing. So you pay that. We're going to send you a new phone. And then as soon as you get the new phone, you send the old phone back. And I was like, really? That's it? Because it's a $1,200 fucking phone. Got a brand new phone.
Nice.
Although today I got the new phone. Trying to transfer shit from the old phone to the new phone is a bit of a chore when you can't get into the old phone. But I have a Google account and a Samsung account. And so I'm trying to transfer everything through that. And it's still transferring things. But the last I checked, I left it over there because it's still transferring. And I tried to get into it and it wouldn't light up again. So I can't see the screen. I'm hoping it's just a byfactor of the fact that it's still transferring shit. But I'm like, I pressed the on off button for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever, to see if I can restart it. Nope. It's still just blank. I can't get into it. So yeah, I don't know if I actually have a working phone or not.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, the S22 just came out.
I know, and I really want that because the pen, this is the problem. The pen on the S22 goes into the phone.
Can I get it without a pen and without a hole?
I mean, you probably can't. No, not the S22.
Can I get a mail?
I don't know.
Can I get a mail phone? No hole.
Oh my God, I love the pen. Okay, so I have the S21 and I bought a new case for it, and the whole thing was where the fuck do I put the pen? If I get a case, I got to get a case that holds the pen because I love the pen. But the S22 I was looking at while I was sitting there waiting to get my appointment to replace my phone, I was like, ooh, look at this. The pen just goes right up in the phone. You don't need any extra shit. It's just right there. And
I mean, it's basically as if they married the S series with the Note.
Yeah, which honestly, for me, I'm like, yes, please give me.
Do you remember when you wanted the smallest phone possible?
Yes.
And now I need the largest phone possible.
Oh yeah,
I need a mini iPad phone. When they're it's 5.97 diagonal, and I'm like, what about 7? Can we get 7? I would like 7. My back pocket is wide enough. There's some guy that I'm following that's developing jeans that I will fucking buy because you can fit wine bottles in the front pockets.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And a whole iPad in the back pocket.
Oh my God.
I don't give a shit what they look like.
That's amazing.
I don't give a shit what they look like. He said they're going to be stylish.
My thing is, do you remember when you had phones where you could press the buttons 3 times to hit the letters and you could text people in your
I forget
pocket?
what that was called. It was something text. But
I
do you
forget,
remember when
but
you
I
had a
loved
phone
that.
so small you could just stick it between your boobs?
Oh my God,
I had no boobs
so much.
I had no boobs.
I
But
love
it still
that
fit.
so much. Well, they had bras that had pockets in them for your phone.
Oh, well, that was cancer causing.
I mean, probably, yes, but
I remember-
also very convenient.
I was in a wedding and I had a Fredericks of Hollywood corset on under my strapless dress, and I had so much shit inside that corset. It was when I first got my boob job done, and I was rocking a C. It was before they really came into their own. Yeah, within a year of that, I was in a triple D, a 38 triple D, and I was like, this is too much. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because if my weight, we've talked about this before, weight goes up, weight goes down, boobs stay the same. Right. So the less I weigh, the bigger my boobs appear to be. Right. So I think I weighed 170 at the time. Yeah. And they looked big. So because I think it was a 36C at the time. I don't know. It just appears big when you look at it. And I had a lighter when I stood at the front. Yeah. With the bride and the groom doing the thing. I had a lighter, a pack of Marlboro Ultralights, and a razor cell phone in my cleavage. I mean, it was resting inside of the corset because it was a non-cupped corset. Right. But I had that in there. And then at some point, somebody else in our party had to get their phone taken away from them because they were texting the wrong person or somebody they shouldn't. You know, that person you've always had labeled.
I've never been accused of that ever.
You've never had somebody labeled in your phone do not fucking text this person ever?
Oh, yeah, no, that was sarcastic. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, good deal. Yeah. So, in my phone, he was listed as that soulless ginger because every time she was like, why don't you like him? And I was like, because he doesn't have a fucking soul. You can look into his eyes. I had actually, ginger or not ginger, he had no fucking soul.
Oh my God.
And he treated her like shit. And I was like, can I just have your fucking phone and also quit hooking up with the DJ?
Right.
Because he's kind of skeevy too. She's had bad taste.
I mean, the DJ's not bad. I mean, if she's not hooking up with band members, at least.
And he's okay, but I walked in the hallway. So we left the place where the reception was. This has gone in a whole different direction. We left the place, and now I'm just telling stories on somebody that I used to know. But this reception was monumental. So the wedding happened at an Eagles.
Yeah.
And so the Eagles has it was not an open bar. It was a cash bar. But the Eagles has cheap alcohol.
Yeah.
So I, being the type A personality that I am, was like running fucking everything. Like I was the maid of honor, so I had to do my shit anyway.
Right.
But I'm like, you get up here for photos. You stop doing that. Like I was policing the shit out of everything.
Right.
My best friend at the time and my boyfriend at the time were drinking their way through the fucking Eagles. And so I go up and I was like, what are you guys drinking? It's like half an hour before the reception is closing, which is like, we're supposed to be out of there at like 11:30 or 12. So I was like, what are you guys drinking? Because I had a beer at some point in time and then somebody took it. So the entire reception I had half a beer.
Okay.
And I was like, Mama's going to drink now.
Right.
Because I am that friend that you have that will like mother the fuck out of you. Like I just assume the position.
That makes sense.
So I go up to the bar and I was like, I need 3 vodka cranberries. And the lady looked at me and said, your friends went downstairs and got vodka once and got cranberry once. And we are now all out of all of it because the Eagles is like members on the bottom.
Yeah.
Room to rent on top. And I was like, awesome. Can I get 3... what is everybody like? Shit. Can I get 3 Captain and Cokes?
Yeah.
And she was like, yes. And I was like, can you be heavy on the Captain? She was like, it's like $1 more. And I was like, I don't fucking care. It's like $2 for one drink.
Right.
So I give her money and I come back and then we had like a couple of more. And we had to leave. We cleaned everything up. We left. We go to the hotel. I find out somebody's texting somebody. So I took her phone away. I also had to take her ID away from her just so she wouldn't lose it. I had some lipstick in there too. So the fucking corset, between corset and boobs, I had some space in the middle.
Yeah.
And then, so the hotel has a bar and the bar has a kitchen.
Nice.
And there's like a walkway from the kitchen, you know, like double doors, like week. And so I see the DJ from the wedding because he's not DJing at the bar.
Right.
So I see the DJ for the wedding and I see his head and I walk through the doors to be like, hey, where's so-and-so? And she pops her head up and I was like, oh. Carry on. I'm just going to fuck.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yep.
So we called some friends that live down the street. And so bride and groom are at the bar. Bride's probably not having as much fun as the groom is because mostly his friends.
Right.
I decided like I'm done mommying people because I'm staying at this hotel. So fuck it all. So I just start drinking. Not paying attention to the tab. I don't give a shit about the tab.
I mean, yeah.
So we are going for rounds. Like there are 5 of us drinking and we just keep getting round after round after round. And we're all paying for our own rounds. And so it's like we were doing bitch shots. We were doing buttery nipples. And then one guy was doing shots of Grey Goose.
Okay.
And then we like had 4 beers that we didn't have to refill very often.
Yeah.
So we're just doing rounds and rounds and rounds. And the bartender's being very friendly. And I was like, thought you were gay, which, you know, I don't care. I just didn't think you were going to hit on me. That was an interesting development.
Right.
That's interesting. I'm here with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
My bad. So I go at the end of the night to do my tap. Oh, so in between, I also had to take my friend upstairs, put her in bed, get her in pajamas. She's wearing a corset also, so I had to get the fucking corset off of her.
Yeah.
So I am sitting on top of her in my giant bridesmaid's dress, like, oh God, unhooking her hook and eye corset by like just pushing down on her fucking chest and smushing the other side over so I could get as many hook and eyes as open as possible. I put her top on her. I go to put her shorts on her and I was like, lift your ass up. And she just lifted her, like just barely got her thighs off by like pushing up on her toes. And I'm like, fuck it, just get into bed. So I go back downstairs and it's the end of the night. and the bar stayed open for like an extra hour, which in Ohio, no. But in Xenia, who the fuck cares?
Right.
So I go up and guy hands me my tab and it's $85. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I like fill out the tab with an appropriate tip. And I turned around to my boyfriend and went, the fucking tab was $85. And he goes, at one point, he gave me a round of beverages, including beers. And when I went back up to get the beers, he was like, oh my God, dude, I forgot your shots, and gave me another round of shots.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he did that more than once. $85 is not that much.
Yeah.
He goes,
Yeah.
do you know how much we drank last night? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
$85 is good. Yeah, that was good.
So nobody knew I was dating my boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And he stayed. But I had to like shush it, like out, get out before she wakes up.
Oh my gosh.
And so I like get him out of the room as she's waking up and she's getting ready. And she was like, did that person stay there? And I was like, nope. No. Why would you ask that? And she was like, well, because things seem array. And I was like, even if they did stay here, that's rude. Like, because we're just friends.
Yeah.
We're friends.
That's fine.
You say he's just a friend. Rude. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but my bodice holds many things, and there are many purposes for having it.
I feel like most women are like that.
All right. So part 2, we left off and we kind of hurried through it.
Yeah. We were drunk.
But we really need to, I know we were drunk and we needed tacos.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking tacos. And Mindy had entirely too much wine.
That was my fault.
So you went on vacation.
Yeah.
Last week we're talking vacation, stolen luggage.
Yep.
A canceled cruise.
Yep.
Hotel that was a nightmare.
Yep.
And then you found a new cruise, but here's the problem. You had to have a negative COVID test.
Yeah, we skipped over the COVID test part. So here's what happened. So we knew on the original cruise we were going on that we had to have a negative COVID test within 48 hours of cruising. So, previously, like, I don't know, 6 months beforehand, in Ohio, the libraries and stuff were handing out free COVID tests that you could get. And I had gotten some COVID tests from the library previously that were like, oh, you get them. And then they had, you would go online.
Proctor.
Yeah, Proctor. And you would go online and you could do the test in front of somebody and they would verify it and whatever else and send it to you, which is what the cruise line needed. So I was like, okay. So my mom had gotten tests from the library and she said, all right, I have the test from the library. So great. Okay. So we took those with us to Miami. And so we were like, okay, well, these are the tests we need. So after we booked our next cruise, because it was so short notice and everything else, we were within the 48-hour window. So that Friday night, we were like, okay, let's take our COVID test and get that out of the way. So we logged online, tried to take our COVID test. And the lady that we got a hold of online, she was like, well, that's not the right test. And we were like, I'm sorry, what? Because I got my test through the library. She got her test through the library. Like, what's wrong with this test? And she goes, well, that's the test. That is so there's a self-test and there's an at-home test.
Okay.
And they are labeled as such. And I had an at-home test and she had a self-test. And the self-test had 2 in a box and the at-home test had 1 in a box. And so the self-test, she was like, oh, we don't do that with those. So they can't verify those ones.
So you had the self-test, not the at-home?
Yeah, we had the self-test. So it was like, so we could take them and get a negative test, but it wasn't verified by an outside party, which the cruise line wouldn't accept. So it was like, shit, like, you know. And while we were on the phone, I had other tests that I had brought with me. We brought many tests because I had backup tests that were like single individual boxes. And so I like showed her the test that I had. I was like, can we do this one? And it was a different brand. And so they were like, oh no, we only do the Abbott whatever tests, the BizNow whatever. Those are this brand of tests. So we don't administer those ones either. Even though it's a single in the box test, it's still a self-test, not an at-home test.
Oh.
So we were like, well, fuck. So we're in the hotel on Friday night after we went through all the shit, booked all the next cruise. We're like, well, now we need a COVID test. So we went downstairs and went to the front desk and they were like, oh, there's a CVS and a Walgreens within walking distance. So try those. So we left the hotel at probably, I want to say like 8 o'clock at night. So we walked down and we went to the CVS. They don't do any of that. They can't do the tests. There's no availability. We go to the Walgreens. Nope, can't do the test. There's no availability. We're like, fuck, what the hell are we going to do? So we were walking by a gas station. There was a police officer like getting gas. And my mom's like, I'm going to ask her. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. Just go ask the police officer. See what the fuck. So she goes and walks up to the police officer while I'm still Googling things on my phone. And almost at the same time, I pulled up on my phone and the police officer's like, there's a library / community center / police station, because the town we were in, it was North Miami, so it wasn't Miami per se. It was like a little village outside of Miami kind of a thing,
right?
Where it's like they have a police station that's like a community center where they have the police station, the library, the public, like it's a whole public center, right? And so she was like, within a mile of your hotel down the street here, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. there is going to be a little bus that is going to do COVID testing. Walk down there and get your COVID test. And so my mom's like, great. So I looked it up online and you had to register. So I registered both of us, got us in line, whatever. And it wasn't getting you in line so much as getting you like pre-registered, like giving their information and everything else. So I was like, all right, so we're registered for it. So in the morning, we just got to get up and walk down there at 8 a.m. So the next morning, well, I will say, on the way back to the hotel, this was another disaster that happened. I was like, all right, after this all happened, this is like 10:30 at night, right? And I'm like, you know what? We passed this little Mexican joint and they had like buy one, get one free margaritas. Let's go get a margarita and some queso and just like get some chips and queso and a margarita and relax, because it's been a fucking shit show for the past 2 days. We went over there and the whole thing was disastrous. The cheese that they gave you when they came out, we were out on the patio, which apparently was on a sidewalk that was leaning, and the table's leaning. So as soon as they set the little like it looked like a little cast iron thing they set on a candle, and it just like dripped onto my mom. Grease. So the grease like went over the edge as soon as they set it on the table and just like went into her lap. And then we went inside. And the queso that they served, which normally you go to a Mexican restaurant, you get like white queso, whatever. No, it was like Colby Jack that they had put into a cast iron thing that was like goopy and like thick, and it was not good. And the margaritas weren't great. And we spent $50 on queso, 2 margaritas that were buy one, get one free, mind you, and 2 tacos.
Oh, man.
Oh, it was bad. So we went to bed. We get up the next morning and we go and we get in line. And we're in line for this COVID test. And it wasn't too long, so it was good. And the woman in front of us was very kind, and, you know, my mom's a chatter, so she likes to chat with people. And so they were making friends, whatever. And we get probably 3/4 of the way through the line, and we're almost up to the front where we're getting our test. And there was a nurse standing there, and so my mom waves her over, and she goes, hey, we're getting on a cruise tomorrow. Is this test going to be like available? Because when you sign up for the test, they ask you what cruise line you're on and stuff if you're going on a cruise. And we put all that information in, and she was like, you asked us that. So like, is that going to be available for them tomorrow when we get on the cruise? And she goes, well, this is a PCR test. So it's going to take 24 to 48 hours. So it might, but not necessarily.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, so it might make it, but maybe not. So we might not be able to board the ship tomorrow. And so the woman in front of us turns around and she goes, okay, here's the thing. There is a mall about 2 miles away, and they do rapid testing, but it's a big site to get tested. She was like, so they open at 9 a.m. and we're like in the line. It's like 8:20. And she's like, they open at 9, but there's going to be a line. You're probably going to have to stand in line for like 4 hours, but they do rapid testing so you can get through and get a rapid test so you can get your results. She was like, and you can take an Uber. It's going to be like $10. And we were like, all right, well, we're already at the front of the line anyway here. So let's get our PCR test just to get it, just in case. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? So we did it. We went through. And then after we got done, we went and got an Uber, $10 over to the mall, and we got in line, and it was a big ass line, and she was right. We got there 20 minutes before they opened, and it had wrapped, like, they had, like, you know, the lines, the
right.
little things set up for the lines. We were
cattle run.
Yeah, the cattle run. We were past the cattle run. Like, so we were outside of it, but still, like, in the line, but, like, it was like, oh, fuck. So we're standing there in line, and in the line, they had like the thing set up like, oh, you need to stand 6 feet apart because of COVID, whatever else. Well, once the line ends, there's no stickers or anything on the ground. Everybody's just like butt to butt. Like everybody's like, and I'm like, this seems very like not great, but okay, we're here. We're going to get a rapid test. It's fine. And we're standing there and like there was a nurse coming through and she kept asking everybody, okay, why are you here? Why are you here? And she got to us and we're like, we're going on a cruise tomorrow. We need to get a negative test. Okay. She goes to the couple behind us. And this couple behind us, like, I'm not even kidding. When it comes to a personal bubble, they existed none. They were like right on our asses the entire time anyway. And like, we had been standing there for like 10, 15 minutes. And like, they were from Jersey. You could clearly tell that. But she goes back there and she's like, hey, are you? Well, we're from Jersey. We're in for a vacation, but our entire family has COVID, so we need to get tested. And my mom immediately like just stepped out to the right. And she pulled me with her, and I'm like, so did we get out of line, or are we just like juxtapositioning the line? Like, I don't understand what's happening. But she's like, I'm not standing there with them breathing on me. Like, they clearly have COVID because their entire family has COVID, and we have to get on a cruise around. We need a negative test. And I'm like, oh my God. So, and then another nurse comes by, and my mom looks at this girl, and she goes, and this girl who's this nurse, she was probably in her mid-20s. And my mom looks at her and goes, these people behind us have been talking over us the entire time. They don't give us any space, and their whole family has COVID. They're here because they probably have COVID, and I just need to get on a cruise tomorrow. And you know, if you listen to the last episode, we'd been through some shit at this point. So this girl looks at her and she goes, well, how old are you? And my mom goes, I'm 64, because we were going for her 65th birthday. And she goes, oh, well, you're over 60. That means you're not elderly, but
you get like a fast pass.
Yeah. She was like, well, you can go into this line over here. And the line that she was pointing to had this big sign that said appointment only, which is why we didn't go there. And she was like, you can go in that line. And she goes, oh, well, this is my daughter and she's my chauffeur. Can she come with me? And the girl looked at me and she goes, I don't care. So mom pulls me with her and we go into this line. They opened up at 9 a.m. Not the big line. They opened up the fucking fast pass line with the appointment only thing on it. And within 20 minutes, we got to the front of the line, got our test taken out. And 20 minutes later, we got our test results. We were both negative. And I was like, yes. But it was like a good 2 hours in the morning where we were like, oh my God. What is this? So yeah, that's how our Saturday started. So that was the COVID test debacle, which I was like, I just don't understand like the difference between like the COVID test that like the at-home test versus the self-test. Like the test was the exact same. It was just a person on the computer watching me versus not a computer on the watching me. So I was like, I don't understand why this one is a validatable one, but this one's not, because it was the exact same steps. It was the exact same. I just
want to know what the proctor does. Do they like deeper? No, that's
the thing. They literally just watch you, and I was like, okay. Like, I don't understand what the difference was. And then and so that was so weird. And I was like, all right, but we finally got on the ship. And then the other thing that we omitted last time was the excursions on land. We got off the boat. All right, so we had 3 excursions. Not excursions. We had 3 ports that we stopped in. My boat got to stop in all the ports, so we didn't have COVID restrictions or anything else. The first port we stopped in, we had to take a boat to get off island.
The boat, okay.
We had to take a boat from the boat. And we both had water shoes packed, but we forgot to take them.
Oh, okay.
And they had activities scheduled because it was the island we stopped at was owned by the cruise line. So there wasn't outside stuff. It was basically the cruise line, like scheduled activities or whatever.
Okay.
So there was a lot of coral.
Oh.
And they kept saying, anytime you see dark patches, don't walk there because that's coral, which is great. But also there was also coral underneath some of the non-dark patches. So the first day that we got off the boat, I tore up my feet.
Oh,
there was a Baywatch competition that I entered. Yeah.
Boobies bouncing up and down.
Kind of, sort of.
Like slow-mo run.
Slow-mo. Think slow-mo, but you had to like, okay, so here's what they did. They had a beach ball, right? Like a volleyball. And they would throw it in the water and you had to go rescue the volleyball and then bring it back to shore to resuscitate it because it was a person.
That's not what I thought a Baywatch competition was going to be. I thought it was going to be like Pam Anderson running down the beach in slow-mo.
You had to do like it in slow-mo. So like you had to slow-mo like run down the beach and get into the water to go like rescue the volleyball. And the only reason I did this is because they had 2 other competitions. One was like musical blankets on the beach with the beach towels.
Right.
And me and my mom did it, and she got a medal.
Oh, okay.
Because the losers got medals and then the winners got trophies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then and then there was some other competition too, and I forget what that one was. But basically she had 1 medal for one of my nephews and she wanted a second one so she could give a medal to my second nephew. So I was like, fine, I will do this so that I can lose and get a medal for the other nephew. So I did it, and they were like, who wants to go first? And I was like, I do, because I want to get the shit out of the way. So I went and did it, and it was fine until I got into the water because there were 2 dark patches, and I went, there's a volleyball and you're supposed to go run and get it to like resuscitate it. So I went running through the water. Well, in the light area there was still fucking coral, and I ran over top of all of the coral to get the volleyball and ran back, and by the time I made it back to shore, my feet were so chewed up on the bottom, it was ridiculous. Like my right foot was just pretty much chewed up the whole way through. My left foot on my big toe, I got a huge gash on the inside of my big toe.
Shit.
Yeah, so it was just it was not comfortable. And then we went and got a pedicure like 3 days later, and I kept telling the girl, I was like, here's the thing, I have a big cut on the inside of my big toe, so if you could just not. And she kept grabbing it, and I was like, ah, and she was like, oh, sorry. And I'm like, can you just, like, I literally said this at the beginning, and you keep grabbing it or keep rubbing shit into it. Can you just stop? Like, just paint the nails.
Understand?
Paint the nails. I don't need you to grab any of the things.
You sound like me at a pedicure, except I don't have anything cut.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't want you to massage my legs. I don't want you to touch anything. Like, if you're going to exfoliate my feet, can you do it with the force of 1,000 men?
Yeah.
And then, because I'm very ticklish, and then don't touch my ankles or my legs.
Right. Yeah. No, it was
bad. I was like, I paid for extra so that you would do gel.
Right.
You just happen to give way too much. Mm-hmm. I don't want all the way too much. I just want gel on my toes because I'm lazy and I don't want to come back here for 5 months.
Yeah. No, it was not great. And the second and the third getting off the boat, the second one, Grand Turk, was okay. It was nice. Nothing to speak of.
Like, are these like blue water places? That's what I want. I mean,
they were all blue water places, but the problem with blue water places is just because there's blue water doesn't mean it's great sandy beaches to get in the water. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean by the first place. Like the water was gorgeous, but like you couldn't walk within 10 feet of the water without like walking over coral.
Gotcha.
The second place, Grand Turks, same kind of thing. This time we had like water shoes. So it was better, but still I was so sore from the last place. It was like, and it was kind of rainy and not great. And that's the day we ended up like in a hot tub on the top deck, like with it raining. It was pouring down raining. We were in a hot tub, and it was like, well, this is life now. And then the third day when we went to, we were in the Dominican Republic. That was nice. But like, the cab situation and getting anywhere off of the beach of where the actual boat docks, it's like, it's a total scam because you have to walk outside of a security place to get to any other beach.
Really?
Yeah, like you're in this little secure place, and to get out of it you have to go through security. So we got a cab because when we docked the boat we saw this little beach and we were like, oh, we want to go over to that little beach. And when we got off, you couldn't get to the little beach because it was all rocks and like barbed wire fence and shit. And they were like, oh, well, you have to take a cab to go down and around, or you can walk. And it was like, well, we'll fucking walk. And they're like, $5 for a cab. All right, fine. We'll pay $5 for a cab. We got over there, though, and there were 2 other couples that we, like, met in the water that were on our same cruise. One couple paid $25. The other couple, they were like, they told us $35. So we just walked. We were like, we paid $5 for the 2 of us. So we literally, we went and swam in the water and everything. And that one was coral free. It was fantastic. Dominican Republic was nice. But people were walking you, like, as soon as you got off of the cab, there was so many people that were like, oh, well, we've got seats for you over here. They're only $5 each. And it's like, no, those are free seats. You don't own the seats. Like, they're not. Yeah. So, but we met these other people in the water and we were like, okay, well, we got $5, and they were like, we were charged $25. We were told $35, and it was like, all right, well, just come with us. So there were 6 of us. When we went to leave the beach, we all decided to leave the beach at the same time, and we all got off the beach, and we went up to where the cabs were, and we were like, hey, how much is it? And they were like, $10 per couple, and we were like, all right, that's fine. So yeah, it's all right.
Nice.
So yeah, it was like they felt better because they got a cheaper price on the way back, and it was like, all right, that works. So,
But I hear that like your flight back was fine. Like
the flight back was good. By the time once we docked, getting off the boat was good. The flight back was good. Well, and I also upgraded on the flight back to first class, so we were.
You left your mom?
Oh no. Okay. Oh, this is the flight back. Fuck, I forgot about this. The flight back. All right. So my mom likes paper tickets.
Yeah.
Right? She doesn't like doing the electronic shit. So when we got back and we checked our bags and everything else, she demanded that they print out a paper ticket. So I didn't even look at my phone because I didn't need to. We had a paper ticket in front of us, right? And when I looked at the paper ticket, it said D. God, it had like a 06, but it had like OH on it or something, and I just figured it meant Ohio, right? It said 06 OH, so I figured it meant D6 going to Ohio.
Right.
So we were sitting at D6 for like an hour and a half, and all of a sudden I got a push notification on my phone that was like, your flight's boarding at gate 60. And I was like, fucking A. And like I said before, gate D's, there's like a fucking 4-stop tram. And I was like, shit. And I looked at mom, and immediately, as soon as I got out, I was like, get up, get your bag, we gotta go. And she was like, what? Do I have time to pee? I was like, no, you do not have time to pee. We have to go now. She goes, what? And I was like, we are at the wrong gate. We are supposed to be at 60, not 6. And we have to go now because we're not gonna make our flight. And we were like booked on first class and shit. And I was like, oh my God. So we had to like haul ass because it was 30 minutes before our flight took off. And I know they closed the boarding gates like 10 minutes beforehand. Right. And I'm like, Gate D in Miami Airport, I know this from coming into Gate D, it takes 20 minutes to get anywhere. I'm like, we are like cutting this shit close. So we had to haul ass to get from Gate D6 to D60 because it wasn't Gate 060H, it was Gate 060H. I don't know what the fuck the H stood for. And then I found out what the H stood for because Gate 60 has like 15 different fucking gates. You go into 60 and then it like pieces out into different
it's like
things.
one of those end cap.
It's one of those end cap things where like you go out and like you go down and then you have to like take different hallways and shit to get to different gates. So yeah, it was 60H. And I was like, what the fuck? So we had to haul ass and get to 60. We got to the gate literally 9 minutes before we were supposed to take off. And I'm like, oh my God, shit. And the woman let us through. And so then we have to like run down another hallway that's outside in the fucking heat in Florida. And then we have to go through another security checkpoint and go through another thing. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Oh shit.
There was one dude behind us. And I'm sure the only reason he made it on the plane is because we were already getting on the plane. And I'm like, because I feel like if we hadn't gotten there, like they would have been like, nope, you missed it. Because when we got on the plane, everybody was shitty as hell. They were like, oh my God, we were already late taking off. And I was like, you know what? Our other flight took off 45 minutes late. So fuck all of you.
Eat a dick.
Eat a dick. But I'm like, getting on the plane to go home was such like a stressful situation because it was supposed to be so relaxing because it was like, I booked us first class. We got to the gate an hour and a half early. Like we're relaxing, whatever. We had snacks. It was great. And then I got that post notification. It was like D16. I was like, son of a bitch. And we had to like sprint across the airport. And my mom is a short human being. So running is not a thing that she likes to do because like
you should have put her on a luggage cart and just hauled ass.
My walking is her running. So I was trying to run and she was like, you're running too fast. Can I go to the bathroom? I'm like, no, you cannot go to the bathroom. You cannot go to the bathroom. That is not allowed right now. We don't have time. We have to get on the flight because I'm like looking at time in my brain and I'm like, I know how all this shit works and we cannot go to the bathroom.
I know how time works.
Yeah. And we got on the flight and she got on and immediately she was like, she asked the flight attendant, she was like, can I use the restroom? And she's like, yeah, you can go to the bathroom. Because I'm like, yeah, once we're on the plane, they can shut the door and like they have to do flight checks and shit and taxi and all
thank
that.
God they let her because I've gone onto a plane before and I'm like, can I pee? And they're like, no, not until we're in the air. And I'm like, I will pee in your seat.
I'm sure the only reason they let her is because we were in first class. And I'm like, thank God I fucking upgraded to these sheets. Because,
I won't even pee on your seat because I don't want to sit and pee. I will pee on your floor. Like I will turn sideways
and pee on the fucking floor.
And like, no.
Yeah. So that was very stressful. And so like the one situation that I was like, I'm sure I will be fine. Because we got to the thing like with plenty of time, and like we were sitting at the gate for an hour and a half, like eating snacks and whatever else. And then it was like, oh no, we have to like traverse the entire fucking airport in 15 minutes to get on our flight. And I was like, the first class thing didn't even make up for it, because I'm like, no, nobody wants to drink. Nobody wants, like, we're all just like out of breath and like fucking annihilated after this week. So it wasn't great.
That sucks.
Yeah. So that's the end of the cruise story.
Well, I'm glad that we got there.
Yeah.
Because people were definitely like, what the fuck happened? And I'm like, because we were like, blah, 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 story over. And I was like, that's not really the story over. I went back and listened to it because, as we've discussed before, I have to listen to our own podcast because I don't know what we've talked about. But the whole like showing up at the end of 60 and then like having different places. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before. When I lived in Panama City, you would go to the Panama City International Airport.
Yeah.
Walk through security, and I'm like, which gate am I at? And they're like, just go through fucking security. And you go through security and you walk in and it's a room.
Oh God.
It's a cube. And somebody goes over, there's like, at every corner there are two doors.
Yeah.
One on the right, one on the left of the corner. And somebody just goes to the door and is like, flight blah 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 going to Tampa. Flight blah 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 going to Tampa. And you just get up and go to that gate.
Oh my God.
It's a room. And they just yell for you like you're cattle.
I'd be so uncomfortable with that.
I'm like, I'm not sure what. Like, there's no. What do you. Now, that might be different now, but this is back in 2004, 2005. And I was like, this is the worst thing ever. Like, I don't understand how you people are operating this way.
Yeah.
But I think there's a new airport now. I'm not really sure. I think it still just takes small planes, but no. We cannot go further or end without talking about Russia's a dick.
Yeah, that's pretty much true.
Yeah, Russia's a dick. So we can't get involved. Here's the scuttlebutt. We cannot get down into the Ukraine because then World War III would start, because they're looking for a reason to use their nukes. And they're threatening. They're threatening to like end any resistance with nuclear weapons. But the Ukraine is some badass shit right now. Like, first of all, overwhelmingly different numbers between the Ukrainian army and the Russian army. But I defy any I'm a patriot, flying eagle, flying flag motherfucker to have the kind of resolve that the people of the Ukraine have. Like the resilience and the balls. Did you see the thing about there's an island off the Ukraine that like 13 soldiers were manning? And this Russian ship pulls up and is like, we don't have to have bloodshed. You should just surrender to us. You don't have to have bloodshed. Why would why do you need to hold out? Just surrender to us and we won't like kill you. Otherwise we're just going to bomb the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And the last communication that the Ukrainian soldiers made to the Russian ship was, Russian ship, go fuck yourself. Now, they were bombed and they all died. And they're going to be memorialized. But, man, yes, our army would stand strong. And our army might do something like that. But I guarantee you that none of these motherfuckers that you see on TikTok or out with fucking flags on their truck with, the orange man, none of them would, not a single one of them have any idea what it's like to be in this situation.
No.
I don't. I've been in the military and I wouldn't face it. I have family members who have faced war, have been in war, but shit. Yeah. Not like this. And the Ukrainians are fighting for their way of life and their families and their homeland and their independence. And the Russians are fighting for a madman.
Yeah.
Like Game of Thrones style shit. Like,
which is insane.
Just a fucking, the Mad King of Targaryen. He's a Targaryen. He's the Mad King. They're fighting for that shit. But I've been impressed. Did you know that the Ukrainian president was a comedic actor?
No.
Yeah. So apparently he studied law.
Okay.
He is the, I think, first Jewish president they've ever had, because it was a pretty anti-Semitic country.
Yeah.
The first Jewish president they've ever had. He was a comedic actor. He was actually in a television show. I'm trying to find the shit. He was in a television show called Servant of the People, where he played a lovable teacher that accidentally became president. And this teacher character was fed up with corrupt politicians, so he became president accidentally.
Interesting.
But man, he's got stone ass balls, because he addressed the NATO and the United Nations and was like, this may be the last time you see me alive, because like we're going on the front lines. They did a press conference, and he was like, this is this is my something of administration, and this is my such and such, like his cabinet, and was like, this is this, we're here. Yeah. This is what we're doing. We're doing this. Here we go. Yeah. Yep. He's 44 years old.
Jesus.
And yeah, I mean, he's giving the people a reason to fight. He's young, very young. He's a good reason for us to have a very young president. 44 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this before.
I think there's a good argument for having somebody who's on the younger side. I think we have a minimum age requirement. I think we should have a maximum age requirement.
Oh, yeah. Because, like, we've talked about this before. Like, I voted... Somebody made this very good analogy. Like, I voted for milk for lunch. I don't drink milk, but I certainly didn't want to drink cat shit. Yeah. So I did not vote for cat shit.
Yeah.
I don't like milk. I don't necessarily care for milk, but
it's probably healthier than cat shit.
Yeah. So there's that. But yeah, I realize that we can't get down in there, but I'm glad that we're giving them intelligence and weaponry. And apparently the U.S. offered him an out, and they were like, we will fly you away from there. And he responded by saying, I need ammunition, not a ride.
Yeah.
And their civilians they offered to the civilians, if you will stay and fight, we will arm you.
Nice.
So they have civilians that are fighting. My husband said he saw a video where they're teaching civilians how to make Molotov cocktails.
Jesus.
How to make anti-tank bombs, like the pipe bombs.
Yeah.
That you like slide out in front of the tanks and it blows them up from underneath.
All right. So maybe you can give me a little insight on this, because this was one of the things that I heard about this whole thing that very confused me. Why did Russia want to invade Chernobyl?
You know what? I haven't read about that, but I have heard that like the radiation levels are off the fucking chart right now, because I feel like they're stirring up some shit. Yeah. So because Chernobyl's not stable.
Chernobyls never been stable.
Chernobyl won't be stable for hundreds of years.
Right.
That's why nobody goes,
they have guards guarding it so you don't go in.
That's why nobody goes out and pets those puppies that are wandering around in the woods that break my heart. So I'm like, I don't know if they're wanting to like I
don't know. That was one of the original places they targeted, and I was like, why the fuck would you want to go there? I don't know if they're
wanting to restart the like, if they're like, oh, this is a good basis, and I'm like, it's probably not. I think it's leaky. Yeah, I feel like it's leaky. Or I don't know if they're trying to stir it up to. But either way, you're putting your soldiers in there, and they're going to get radiation poisoning and just die.
They're just going to die. Yeah. Well, that was my thing. I was like, all right, well, I mean, if they want it, why don't you just let them have it and just like let them all like go into there, and then just be like, hey, y'all can have this spot.
Put them all in there and then start bombing the shit out of them.
Just like get real high fences, like double fences, like lots of like barbed wire, and like let them funnel them in and then trap them in there and be like, okay, this is where you live now. You've got it. This is what you wanted.
Radiation poisoning will get you where
live
you need
there.
To be. Yeah, I mean, those soldiers are gonna die.
And I know soldiers are just following orders from their superiors and stuff like that, so that really sucks. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, well,
I'm impressed with the protests that have been going on in Russia, considering that they're arresting basically all of them that they can catch.
Yeah.
But we know that it's not all of Russia.
Yeah.
It's probably not even most of Russia or half of Russia.
Oh, no. I've heard a lot of Russian people or like celebrities and things like that are boycotting stuff, canceling concerts. They're like trying to do what they can to make sure that they know Russia's aware that they are not supportive of whatever's happening.
Yeah. They, there's a set of Ukrainian brothers that are soccer stars. They went home to fight. It's just, It's heartbreaking. I've been watching the videos and I'm like, these are just people fighting to have their own lives and to not be under Russian rule. I think what everybody has decided is that, or what we all can agree on is that this fucker wants to take it back to the USSR.
Yeah.
So these are people that are fighting to not be a part of the USSR because some of them remember
what it was like.
They have soldiers in Russia that are following orders. And these fuckers don't know. They're young. They're kids. They don't remember the USSR. But if Ukraine falls, he'll go after the other 14 republics that separated from the USSR. He just wants to restore the old guard. He's killed his own people before to come to power.
Yeah.
He, I cannot for the life of me remember who the hell what is he considered, a prime minister? I can't remember who it was before him. But he basically agreed when he was the head of the KGB to not prosecute or to not arrest the guy that was before him if he endorsed him to take the position. And then he blew up apartment buildings in Russia, blamed it on the Chechens, attacked Chechnya to get Russia behind him.
Okay.
And then with independent study, they found out, I learned this on a documentary on NPR, with independent study, they found out that the explosives that were used were only available to the Russian army. So, but to a certain extent, there is an age gap of those people who love him.
Yeah.
They support him. They think that Putin is great. And then there's this younger generation that is like, fuck him. Also, this younger generation does not want to be returned to a socialist, to a purely socialist community because they've experienced a limited amount of freedom.
I mean, let's be honest. There's been times when we've been called socialists at some point in our lives.
Nobody knows what the hell that actually means.
But nobody knows what that actually means. And I feel like there are a lot of people in Russia who know what that means. And definitely don't want that to happen.
Right.
And nobody wants that to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they never converted to a capitalist system. And I'm not saying the capitalist system is great.
No, it's not great. But
because I don't think we're going through a huge... Here's what I understand about the people. So there's half of us that understand what's happening and half of us that are like, the president, inflation. And I'm like, how about let's blame companies that are at record profits, insurance companies that are at record profits, and yet they are still raising prices.
Oh, I have 2 doctor's appointments from last year that apparently insurance is not covering.
Yeah.
Can't figure out why.
But you're looking at Amazon. This is such a first world white people problem.
Oh, it is.
Amazon is raising their yearly fees to $139. They're not losing money.
No, they're just
not
raising it.
This isn't like Netflix is raising their prices. They're not losing money. They're also not paying people more. Amazon isn't paying people more.
Yeah.
Even if they were paying people more, it's not coming from raising Prime from $119 to $139.
Yeah.
And I don't, nobody's mad at Jeff Bezos.
Right.
I mean, I am. But nobody who is on a certain side is, and I hate that we're taking sides, but I got a side and I'm sticking to it and I'm fine with it. And if you don't like it, and fucking don't listen anymore. But I feel like if you're mad at the president for inflation, you're mad at the wrong person. There are people who are making money hand over fist, and because it's a capitalist system, air quotes, because it's a capitalist system, nobody's mad at the people who are making all the fucking money.
Right. Yeah.
That being said, we're all about to pay a shit ton of money in gas costs. I guess the government will try and do what they can with, I don't know.
Hey, everybody needs to walk more anyway.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I mean, we can't go in there. We can't go in there. We're sending in, I guess we're supplementing troops who are going, Germany can send troops. I guess, Poland is sending troops, and we're going to go in and backfill.
Oh, okay.
But we can't go down and fight Russia because then it will become a nuclear thing. But fucking Putin is threatening, we'll end this shit with a nuclear bomb. And I was like, you crazy motherfucker.
I mean, we could end it with a nuclear bomb. We've done it before.
Yeah. I think her thing is that anymore we wouldn't want to do that to people.
No, and you wouldn't.
Right.
Nobody wants to.
Because I think everybody who made the choice about like Nagasaki and that they'd go back and not do it.
Well, and here's my thing. The fact that we are on a precipice of the reason we don't have nuclear war is because we have this whole like trifecta of, well, I have nukes and I have nukes and I have nukes. And if you do nukes, then I'm going to do nukes and I'm going to nukes. And it's like our entire like system of like keeping peace is based on the fact that everybody has nukes and like we'll all nuke each other anyway. I'm sorry, that is a shit system. Mm-hmm. Like that is the biggest shit system. Like, I'm sorry. Oh, we have nukes? Yeah. Well, you have nukes? Oh, and you have nukes? Oh, well, the reason I'm not going to nuke you is because if I nuke you, then you'll nuke him, and then he'll nuke me, and then we're just going to nuke each other, and then literally nobody exists. Like, what kind of a system is that?
And I feel like China is sitting back. Like, we're talking so much shit right now, but I feel like this was supposed to be the whole point of the original podcast, is talk shit about shit. If you like accuracy and reporting, not for you. But then I feel like China's sitting back. We don't know what China has. China might have nukes. We don't know.
Well, fuck. China probably has everything. Well, China probably owns our nukes.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
I mean, China's just waiting to see what we will or won't do.
Yeah.
But.
Well, isn't China siding with Russia right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, also, so is our ex-president. He thinks he's really smart.
Yeah.
When did it become cool to side with Russia?
Yeah.
Like, I know that I'm a Cold War, like, tear that wall down, Gorbachev, fuck you kind of baby, but
here's the thing. I've been to France, and I've been to, like, England, and I've been to Germany, and I really like those places.
Seen France.
I have. I've seen London, I've seen France, and I really like those places, and I don't want to see them nuked. So I want to side with those places because they're culturally relevant and lovely and wonderful and just...
Yeah.
So anybody who wants to nuke them, I'm kind of like, meh, you all fucking suck.
Yeah. No shit.
Even if I don't know anything.
So... that's a downer to end it on.
It is a downer to end it on. But you know what? Okay. Here's my overall, just general feeling.
By the way, we got drunk Brandi tonight because drunk Mindy decided not to fucking try and drink 4 bottles of wine.
That's right. Brandi caught up with Mindy this evening because Brandi decided to drink a bottle of wine within an hour. So all I'm going to say is fuck 2022.
Yeah.
It's been a shit year. I'm not happy with it so far. Nothing has gone right.
Oh my God. Sorry to throw in on that. So my mom fell in the parking lot of a hospital.
Oh my God.
A week ago and broke her ankle.
Shit.
I have a broken wing.
Yeah.
From surgery.
Yeah.
I can't help her.
No.
Under any other circumstances, I am trained to be able to help her.
Right.
I can't help her.
You're broken.
So she's at a rehabilitation facility. I'm driving there every night.
Oh, my God.
And I'm happy to do that because she's bored out of her fucking mind and hates it more than anything. But yeah, 2022 needs to start happening in a better way. Like
2022, I'm sorry. Like I was like, all right, January sucked. And then I was like, okay, February sucked too. All right, 2022 can just suck a fucking dick. Because like it's 2022, unless next week I get some really good news, which I'm really hoping to do. But unless I get some really good news fucking next week, then our next podcast is just going to be entitled Fuck 2022.
You mean, who wants to fuck 2022?
Right. Who wants to fuck 2022? Because fuck that shit. I can't anymore. 2022 needs to go like fucking die. Die a slow death in a miserable grave.
So far, it has just been a kick in every nut that we might have ever known.
It is. It really is
so sad. So on a funny note, we should give them a shout out. We were at Jane's on Main tonight.
Yeah.
And I look over and there's this gentleman and I was like, I know you. And he's like, I know you too. And I was like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't know. And so we're talking years. And then I come out of the bathroom and I see the back of the head of his companion, which sounds like a bad thing. But I recognized her ponytail and I was like, oh my God, they're my dog sitters. I just didn't recognize her husband.
Oh yeah.
But we go up and we start talking and he and I have determined that we know each other from before her dog sitting. And he was like, even before you were dog sitting, we were dog sitting when I first met you. I was pretty sure I knew you before this. And he was like, it was sometime in the 90s. And I was like, well, the 90s were kind of a blur.
Yeah.
So if you guys listened to the last episode, times that by 4 years. And that was what was happening for me from 1991 until I left for the Air Force. So, no, I don't know who you. I was like, I'm pretty sure I know you, but I don't remember. And he was like, no, we all went someplace. And like, you had a van. And I was like, I was probably in a van. But I don't know that.
I remember being in a van. I don't remember having a van. I don't remember any of that.
Anyway, so I'm so happy. Find us on Twitter, Instagram.
Yes, dbblpodcast.com.
Or, so that's our website.
That's our website.
If you want to find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or TikTok, we are either DBBL Podcast or DBBL_podcast. I don't have a notebook.
I just hit my glasses on my microphone.
Oh my God. I feel like we should make a promo. Not a promo. Like we should make an insert here. Like, where can you find us, Brandi?
We try to do that at the end, but we did it for the beginning, but the end never comes together because we're always too drunk.
Nope, there you go. That's what happens. But yeah, find us at one of those places. Oh, by the way, nope, this won't come out in time. By the time this comes out, we'll have picked winners for the merch giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
So that is happening, and we will give the merch giveaway, and then later on this year, we'll do We'll do a motherfucking merch giveaway later on too. So some of you are missing out because I think I only have like 15 people.
Ow. 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 Ow.
Are you literally eating the mic?
The microphone, like, it's so soft. It's just so soft. You just want to lay on it. It's like, ow, 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 ow.
Hey, I'm so happy my 8.8% beer is back.
Yay.
My husband is not going to be happy about this. Like, I had 4 shots of Makers.
Yep.
And then I've had 1.5 8.8s, and you were drinking.
I had a
like
whole bottle of wine, and then I had 2 means. Well, this is my second mead, so really I had a whole bottle of wine, and then I had another glass of wine, and then I had a mead.
Yeah. So we're super, but we appreciate all of you for listening. Thank you so much for coming to our TED Talk.
Thank you.
And we will talk to you the next time.
Sounds good. Cheers.
Mouse. The remote. It's the remote. I'm like, you've got a remote for the heater? And
all
you're
right.
like, the remote. And I'm like, fucking, and you're like, I just have to do this. And I'm like, the mouse?
Right? Okay, so you're on 3 now instead of 2, so.
Okay.
All right, so I think I'm still on 1.
I'm still good on sound.
Check.
Shh.
All right, we can all hear each other.
Shibbolence.
Boo, boo, boo. Boo, boo, boo. Oh, that was very loud. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so...